that on my news feed right now. And I'm going to, I'm going to share mine to On-Set Lighting and Burnie's Rippin' Lighting. What do you see, Tony? Oh, good. It's always a bit of a gamble, isn't it?
Well, the last couple have been great, but today
It was going back, doing backflips again. Yeah. Good.
Oh my God, there's 5 people watching. Ah. That's pretty cool. So how long have you been doing the show at this point?
You know, a couple years now. Couple years. Even longer than a couple years, I think.
Yeah, I think I discovered
December
it.
2000. Wow.
I think I discovered it about
2.5 years, I guess.
I think I discovered it about 6 months ago. I think is when I came across it. I came across it because I was part of one of those Grip Electric Facebook groups.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I saw it on there.
It was on there. I
Yeah.
put it on there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so that's how I came across it.
Yeah. I try to do some sharing, you know what I mean, and make it work. You know, it's very, very difficult as far as, like, it's been a long time now. So
Yeah.
there are a lot of people who know about it, who have seen it, you know, over the times. But, you know, you really think about it, even like doing ads, I've tried to do ads for this and stuff, but they're just not effective. They're just not.
It's really a targeted market. Of
Very
people,
targeted,
you know?
very narrow.
It's not even the same ones that watch those YouTube channels to look at cameras and stuff.
Oh.
This is more,
there's
sort of more esoteric than even that.
It
you
is.
know?
It is, because really what I did was, you know, I mean, for me, what I wanted to present is like what we're all going through in this industry, you know, because I remember, you know, like you said in my book, reading my book, but it was like at 40, starting through this, you know, I knew enough about business, I knew enough about work and handling myself. Those things were all taken care of, and that's what gave me my success. But I thought I was the only one in the world that felt this stupid.
Right.
You know what
well,
I mean?
nobody posts that on YouTube or Facebook or anything. They post all the good stuff. They don't.
Yeah.
You know?
But Facebook and I mean, social media is who you want to be.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The other world is who you really are.
Right.
Yeah, and it's a tough thing.
Yeah, you had what's the director's name that you just had on PJ something?
Yeah, PJ.
He had a post about a month ago, where he was talking about how he felt about everything.
Oh,
and that blew me away. I was just like, oh man, that feels so good to see that.
Dude, that's why I had him on the show.
Because he looked like he was kicking ass.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like all his social media stuff. Dude, that guy was killing it.
Right.
And he was like, oh yeah, I was in bankruptcy and all this other stuff. I'm just like, oh okay. Well, I'm not the only one that feels like they're at the precipice about to fall off the edge. At any point.
No,
you know?
absolutely, absolutely. I always tell people, I post about the great looking set. I do not post at 1 in the morning when I'm looking for diesel in the truck, you know, because it's a whole different world. Also, the frustrations that you go through just in everyday life without being in this industry. This industry adds that level on it, and then just about 100% of the people I've ever met in this
hard
industry.
on a marriage too.
Oh, it's very rough on marriages.
It
and
nearly
everything
ended
like
my
that.
marriage a couple times. It was really, really hard.
Look,
you know?
it has had a, you know, I was married at 62 for the first time. So I had seen marriages fall apart in this industry. And even for me, feeling like I was very aware of it.
Yeah.
This business would put a big strain on me and the marriage, you know what I mean? And my wife. My wife's an angel. I know yours is too. She seems like a very sweet lady, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, I've done stuff and I've gone, geez. everybody. Welcome. 2 o'clock. Got to be Burnie's Applebox. Here we are live again. Live. And I've got a great guest today. A guy who does a lot of BTS. In fact, he's kind of found that niche is BTS for him. And we're going to talk about him and his career and what he's doing now. And I have just done the pre-roll here. We've been doing a lot of talking. It's going to be a great show. And I would like to introduce Mr. Edward Uken.
All right.
How are you, sir? Did I pronounce that right, Uken?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, great.
You got it.
First time.
All right.
First time ever on my show. So, Edward, you do specifically. Oh, wait a minute. I'm amiss.
Yeah.
And also Mr. Tony Hope on the board, playing the ivories today, if you will.
Hello.
And,
Hello.
and he's coming to you. He's coming to you.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's a
there
little
he
out
is.
of focus, unfortunately.
There he is.
Hey.
Tony, nobody's in focus all the time.
No.
But you do the behind the scenes, and you have sort of found a niche there. And I'll tell you, anybody who knows me and knows my Facebook, has been following me, knows behind the scenes is just about everything for me. I feel like I've built my whole social media place with behind the scenes. They've been so good to me. So I was fascinated when I saw it. Then you showed me some stuff. Sorry for the long wind.
Oh,
here.
no worries.
But then you showed me some stuff,
good
and I
listener.
saw it, and it opened my mind up that I had been looking at behind the scenes very narrowly. You know, very narrow what my little niche was and
Yeah.
all that. I saw the stuff you did, and we're going to look at that too, but it was very good. So let me ask you, let me go back a little bit. Let me start with your history. Tell me about where you're from, how you got in the business.
Okay. Well, I'm from a little place called Fremont. It's a bigger place now. They make Tesla motors there now. But when I grew up there, it was kind of a smaller place.
Yeah.
And actually, I had a terrible time in school. And
Were you good in school?
I was a good student when it was something that interested me. When
Yeah.
it wasn't, not so much.
Yeah.
I mean, it turns out later on it's because I had undiagnosed ADD, and you know,
So many things.
I think that's like everybody in this industry, pretty much.
will
That's like a
tell
prerequisite
you,
to join the club, right?
It sort of is.
They're like,
you know,
wait,
it sort
do you
of
have
is.
trouble paying attention? Do you?
Yeah.
Do you need excitement in your life?
You may have a
sit
career
still?
in film and video. Yeah.
you want to work 80 hours and never
Well,
sleep to avoid like sitting in an office for 8 hours a day?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'll tell you,
like,
Edward.
sign me up.
Yeah, you hit on something here that I think is a very big truism in our industry. Certainly, first of all, I would say people in our industry, no matter what department you're in, you're generally smarter and more of an independent individual than the general public. That is number one. Also, I do believe this is where the bad students go. You know what I mean? Because it's the same thing, you know, if you're not, and, you know, obviously education doesn't reincorporate their failures, so you've got to go somewhere,
Yeah.
right?
It's funny. I always tested really well. It was like 98th percentile on all the standardized tests and stuff. I think I got like I don't know, 1480 on my SATs. Like, I'm obviously a smart guy, but I could just, you know, like I'd get straight A's for like, I don't know, a quarter, and then I just
And then it would not interest you.
Well, what happened? I got straight A's and like nothing changed.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still not very stoked.
Yeah.
Like, it still sucks. Everybody's like, oh, I get straight A's, everything will be great.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't.
Not so much.
You know?
Not so much. You know, I'll tell you, but I believe that was good. You know, that very thing I think is something that motivates us as individuals, is that we sort of start from a place of we're trying to prove ourselves a little bit more, you know. And I know, and I think that's where it leads to the next thing that I know we talked about a little bit, is there's some insecurity when you get into this business. And I think, in all honesty, the people who are bored by school find this industry so challenging that it becomes like a goal, you know, and you really do go after it. You know?
Well, it's also funny, even though it was like the most scary thing, it was also the most comfortable I ever was with a group of people.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because, I don't know, just everybody you meet, I mean, not everybody, some people are pretty awful. But
yeah.
But the majority of people you meet in this industry are really
very nice,
interesting, and very interesting people who are willing to go deep with you.
Yes.
Relatively quickly.
Relatively quickly.
I mean,
Agreed.
we were telling each other our life stories within about an hour of meeting each other.
Yes. Oh yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's not a connection you get with people in any other place.
It's not.
You know, you keep it surface level everywhere else, and that's something I really had a really hard time with, because you know, when I meet somebody, I want to delve deep. I want to know who they really are.
I agree, and I also think
you know,
that's another trait with most people, and they're pretty open. I found, like, you know, those relationships that you make on set. You have a good friend on set. You make a good friend that day. You're having a few laughs, all that. You don't see them for 2 years. 2 years later, you're happening on the same set.
You pick up right where you left off.
Pick up right where you left off.
Well, shit, I feel like we're old friends, and
I do too.
We just met not too long ago.
A month, 6 weeks ago.
I feel like I could have a beer with you tomorrow and have the best time.
If I drank, you could. But it's very true. I have found the openness in this industry to be something that I never expected.
Yeah, that vulnerability is something wonderful about it.
Yes, you know? It is. It is.
Especially with other dudes, because you don't get
no,
to
you know what?
you don't get to share like that. You know, anywhere else.
I think it comes from a place of honesty first. So I think if you, as the individual who is entering in, are honest, and you don't try to puff up and like think you know it all or try to prove to everybody.
Well, that's a funny thing. You see somebody like Roger Deakins, and I came across his website once, and he was giving away information for free on a little bulletin board that he created.
Oh, he's amazing. He's amazing.
You know, and not a single bit of posturing. You see that guy in an interview, and he's like, "Oh, well, you know, I
figured it out.
I pointed the camera over there, and it looked okay." And you know, and you're just like, "Really?"
I know,
like,
it's
Roger
so
Deakins, that shit is amazing. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You just pointed the camera over there, and kind of, it worked out.
Yeah.
But like, he had 360, Airy Fresnels and
well, you know what he's
configuration.
saying,
Like, how is that easy?
Yeah, but you know what he's saying, and I think this is my interpretation of that. You know what I mean? Is it's not maybe a particular scene may be difficult, and you have to do a lot of lining, but you're keeping it simple in the element
of the fundamentals.
The fundamentals are there. Like, oh, I need a 1K. Well, okay. You may need 100 1Ks, but it's still a 1K, right? And you're just doing the math and seeing the movement, and doing all that.
But you know that's the other thing that I forgot was that everybody starts kind of where they're at. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't suddenly jump to putting 360.
No.
You know.
No. You're not
360
hired in.
Fresnels on on a grid.
You're not hired in.
Yeah.
No.
And I was always thinking like, God, I got to know how to do that right away.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think that's a mistake we all make. You know, I think that's a mistake we all make.
And you sort of try and pretend a little bit like you know that. A little more than you know.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to start crying on set.
but you know what I mean. Like you come in and you're like, oh yeah, of course I know what whatever it is. Like
you know what
I've
I
never
think
seen a Mayfair clamp, but I know what that is.
You know what I think is the best response is like, tell me what you know.
Yeah.
I don't know much, but I'm going to work my ass off. I'll tell you what. I hear that guy's got a job. That guy's got, because you know what? I know enough for both of us.
That's funny. I feel like that's my superpower.
Yeah.
No, seriously, because you read all these silly books and stuff, and they tell you like in an interview, never admit that you don't know something.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
that's
if
wrong
I
advice.
did that in the film stuff I've done, the minute it was obvious that I didn't know what I said I knew, then they'd be like, get the hell out of here, dude.
Exactly.
Like, why'd you just feed us this whole line of crap when you obviously don't know how to even set a C-stand properly. Come on.
Right.
You know.
But you know what? Here's the thing. It's like starting in any position. You should be aware of your surroundings. You should know how to be polite. You know what I mean? Do all of that. And then you should incrementally every day try to do. I also say to people on set, be aware of where the work is going on. Yeah. I've had a lot of interns just stand there and wait for somebody to tell them what to do.
Yeah, you got to be
and
close
my
to the
thing
action
is, you got to figure out what needs to be
time.
done, and you got to get on that.
Yeah.
You know, And that is a very key element.
Yeah, that whole anticipation thing.
The anticipation.
Trying to look for the next thing they need before they've asked for it.
You know, one of the things that was an advantage to me being 40 and getting into the business too, was the fact that I had already learned how to listen. For 20 years at work, I'd been listening to what this guy was saying and that guy was saying to see what's going to come up, be happening. You know what I mean? And boy, did that feed me real well in the industry. You know, because I'd be listening to the DP, listening to the director, and boy, I'd hear Applebox. I'd go get a couple Appleboxes because I knew they were coming on set, and I wanted to have them right there if they were there. And just those things made me hireable immediately. You know, and had value to somebody. So now you came down here and you got into. You went out. You went out and tried freelance, and you had some success, right?
Yeah. Well, but before all that, I actually dropped out of school twice.
Okay.
So there's a long story to this.
Yeah, we don't need the whole thing.
This is not.
Yeah, we don't need the whole thing.
It's a long, winding road that ended up here. But basically, I ended up at a 2-year film school. It ended up being great, and they taught me a lot about lighting. The guy used to be part of IATSE, the stage lighting guy, and so I learned all my lighting stuff from him. And he was the kind of guy that you could call him in the middle of the night, and he would give you advice, and so
that's great.
So, anyways, so after that ended, I ended up just deciding I'm just going to move to LA and see what I can do.
Yeah.
And I got here and I was like, oh no, what now?
Yeah, that must have seemed awful intimidating when you first arrived, right?
And and by my very nature, at least at that point, I was very shy, very socially awkward. Yeah. You know, and to suddenly go to like the biggest film mecca on the planet and be like, okay, I'm going to do this.
Right.
I'm nobody, but I hope someone's going to care. And so first off, I just went on Craigslist and I found the first job that I could that had something, photography related in it. And so I ended up working for an eBay store for this guy who owned a clothing warehouse. Okay. They'd sell stuff at swap meets, and then they also started selling vintage clothing online. And so I took that as an opportunity to practice my lighting. So I came up with techniques for getting the clothing to look really nice on eBay, and so I could really jam through it because I'd have to put up 100 pieces a day and that sort of thing. So learning to so
you were banging it out, making it look good,
and how to batch process all the images, like all that stuff. So it was like a really good learning opportunity. Good. And then by making friends with the guy, I had access to all the clothes that he had in the warehouse, and so I started taking photos with actors and stuff that were in the area. Oh, great! To kind of bulk up my portfolio. Yeah. So I did these silly things with vintage clothes. Yeah. And then I did that, probably for about 6 months. And then I was like, this isn't really what I want to be doing. I really want to get on like a real film set. Yeah. So I was like, shoot, what am I going to do? Like, I don't know anybody.
So what'd you do?
I picked up a copy of the LA 411. And I just started cold calling people. Great. And at first I started cold calling like first ADs because I was like, I probably should be a PA. And then I talked to a few people who had been PAs, and they're like, oh, this kind of sucks. Like, they don't pay good, and it's not a,
Right, but it's a good entry point.
You're not gonna get a chance to touch anything that's fun, and they were like, but if you want to get into lighting, you might want to hit up some G&E guys. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, that sounds like a way to go. I'm like, those guys seem more like craftsman types, like
a skill level,
and so they're probably going to be a little easier to reach out to. Sure. And so that's how I started. I just started cold calling key grips and grips out of the LA 411. Awesome. And I'd sit there and I wrote out my little script. And I sat there and I was so scared I was shaking with every call. And
I'm sure, very intimidating.
Seriously, at the end of 10 calls, I'd sit in the corner and cry. That's how much I hated doing it.
Sitting in the corner and cry, burying your head in the pillow, all of that stuff.
You were still doing it.
Well, exactly, and you were still 95% ahead of everyone else just by that one act.
Well, that's what I tell everybody starting out. I'm like, you got to get over this whole like asking permission for a job thing. Yeah. Going with applications and all that, because there's no way in that way if you don't already have experience.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you have to make a connection with somebody. Yeah. and then gain their confidence that you're serious about what you want to do. You know, I think that's brilliant. I am very proud of you. I did much the same thing starting out when it came to my equipment. You know what I mean? I had met enough people to sort of get on set.
Yeah.
You know, but doing the same equipment, I did the same thing, and it kept me well. It was a very, very, very good move, just like you did. So then you come on set. Tell me about the first time that you went on set where you considered it a big set. You know, somebody.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this
guy.
Yeah.
Called you.
Basically, I got a call. Like, well, I made all these calls, and then like pretty much a month went by and nothing happened.
Yeah.
And
that hurts.
That's another thing
that
they
hurts.
don't tell you with all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you can actually be doing all the right steps and everything,
Yeah.
and it won't work right away.
That's right.
So you think you've failed miserably.
Yeah.
You're just sitting there, it's like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm a nice guy, I'm not an idiot. Like,
Yeah.
well, why isn't anybody calling me back? It's been like a month, and then all of a sudden I get a call out of the blue, and it's this key grip, and he goes, you know, hey, I got this project that I'm doing. It's unpaid. It's to be a volunteer on the project. There's a lot of good people on it.
Yeah.
And
it's a great way of, you probably didn't know this today, but that is the way, and you're thinking about it, but that is the way to make connections. You got to get on set to get work on set.
Yeah. But I mean, well, that's how I learned that lesson.
Yeah.
Is that guy called me out of the blue, and I was just like, well, I'm not doing anything, and you know, this is what I really want to do. So, I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You know, I'll get to see a few guys that know really what they're doing their job.
And see how the workflow
and,
goes.
you know, maybe I'll get some ideas. Maybe they'll be able to tell me somewhere else that I can, I don't know, look for work or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, and so I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, I'll be there. I'm there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, I don't know how to do anything with grip stuff. Yeah. So I like picked up a book like that day.
Would you get the handbook, Harry Box handbook? Yeah, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
Anybody wanting to get in the business should buy that book.
What is it, like On-Set Lighting Technician's Handbook or
yes,
something?
Yes, by Harry Box.
Yeah,
yes.
that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one, and I just sat there just like, I stayed up till like 3 a.m, just like sitting there like rapidly going through that. I'm like, okay.
When you should have been getting sleep.
Yeah, so by that time I'm just like worked myself into this nervous frenzy.
Yeah.
And so I go to my first day, and I get there, and like my stomach falls like damn near to my feet, and I'm just like, oh my God, like I don't know how to talk to these people. Like, these are real people. They have like a Fisher dolly that's over in the corner.
Right.
You know, and they were actually doing a full blackout of the house, and like they had, 2 of the big, grip trucks.
Yeah.
And I was so intimidated. And I get over there, and I'm speechless. I can't get a word out. And one of the grips goes, hey, you must be Ed, and you must be really green. He's like, this must be your first day. He's like, and he takes his hand, he claps me on the back, and he goes, "It's cool, man. We're gonna be friends. Don't worry. We're just carnies with a health plan."
Oh God, that's so funny.
And I said, "All right, okay."
That's so funny.
And I knew I'd probably be okay at that point.
Yeah, that's great. We're gonna take a quick little break here, and we will be right back.
All right.
Hi, I'm Burnie. I own Burnie's Grip and Lighting, San Diego Grip and Lighting, and Los Angeles Grip and Lighting. You know, we pride ourselves on not only renting you the best equipment, but also giving you the best crews. And one of our core values here at Burnie's Grip and Lighting is that we give you the highest production value in the world. And remember, people used to say national, local. No. We present world-class production value on every set. We also know budgets are very tight these days, and you've got 10 hours to get what you need in the can. We move ahead, we move fast, and we know what you need. When you rent from Burnie's Grip and Lighting, you have a partner on your production for that day that is making sure you are well taken care of. So anytime you're in Southern California, give us a call at 714-609-3545, and we'll take very good care of you. See you on set. Everybody, and we're back with Edward Uken.
All right.
Behind the scenes genius So, and that's a niche, and I want to start talking to you. So, long story short, you got in the industry, you've done several other things. Then you got into doing behind the scenes.
Right.
Quickly tell me, how did you approach that with clients?
Well, I basically fell into it. I started off, I had taken some time off, ended up doing IT for several years, and then I was just like, I got to get back on set. I can't stand doing this anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta do something. And I was like, well, maybe I can camera assist and do some G&E work. And so I started calling people that I'd worked with in the past, and then also started emailing people that I hadn't worked with for both grip and electric swing type work, where I'm not having to do anything with truss or anything too crazy. And then also started looking for camera assisting work. And on one of the first jobs I got as a second AC, I ended up bringing my camera on set like the second day because they were having a lot of time in between takes. And so I was like,
right.
I asked the first AD, I was like, hey, is it cool if I take some shots in between, when we have downtime?
Yeah.
And she was like, sure.
Yeah.
And so I just started with my little GH5 that I just picked up so I could get like, a little bit of reel material. And then I started just taking stills on set, and then those started getting shared a bunch.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, can you bring your camera again tomorrow? And so then I ended up taking photos, for the rest of the week-long shoot, in addition to being a second AC.
Okay.
And so I was like,
so that kind of dovetailed. You dovetailed two positions.
So then that put the idea into my head, like maybe this is a good way to get more time behind the camera, actually operating and doing some lighting and that sort of thing. Because every other avenue, takes years.
Right.
I'd probably be camera assisting
kind of
for like 2 or 3 years.
Sure.
And so I was like, well, this may be a sort of a sidelong way into that world.
Sure.
Because ultimately I wanted to be a DP. So
right.
It's like what's going to get me on set to the point where I can watch people that really know what they're doing, light bigger sets. And I was like, well, I fell in love with this industry watching the Discovery Channel movie magic.
Right.
And I was like, well, why not just do something kind of like that show?
Yeah. So what was your first gig? That was your first gig, and what you did the set photos for them.
Yeah.
Right.
And
so
then,
did they pay you for that at that time?
No, not for the set photos.
So
set photos were just
freebie. Yeah.
They were paying me for the second AC work, but then they got free photos with it too.
Boom.
And they were like, all right, it's not bad.
Yeah.
So then after that, I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna see what I can do to kind of get a quick reel together doing this stuff. So I started looking on Facebook groups for projects that were already going, that were low budget, where they might need somebody to come on set and do that. Yeah. And so I started reaching out to people.
And then you would go out to the sets, and would you give them a freebie then?
Not initially.
Okay.
Initially, I was trying to find like a
what,
small
$100, $150?
Yeah, I ended up finding a gig for $75.
Yeah.
And it was a little sci-fi short.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, this is going to be really cool.
Yeah.
And this will at least pay for my gas because I was living in Long Beach and it was in Burbank or whatever.
Yeah, right.
And that's really all I wanted. I just didn't want to be out of pocket on my gas expenses.
You didn't want to be going negative. Yeah, right. So, that's like making money.
Right. So I was like, all right, cool. Well, I'll do this. And so I ended up shooting for 2 days for them. Initially, I only wanted one, but then they were like, oh wow, the stuff you're getting looks great. And so then they asked me to come.
So they came back. They liked this stuff enough. Well, that's the proof in the pudding, right there.
Yeah. And then from that, then the guy had gotten me the second AC work. He had a buddy who was a director who was doing a short film, and they needed behind the scenes on that as well. And then another of his friends was doing a TV pilot, and this all happened in the span of about 2 or 3 months.
Right.
And so with those 3 things, I had a reel now.
So now in that month you had a reel. You had got 3 jobs, and you must have thought, hey, maybe there's a need for this, and people aren't even on top of it.
Yeah, and I was like, cool, all right. So I got a reel now.
Yeah.
So then I just started sending it out like crazy.
And then you sent it out, and tell me about the response of it, because you had just gone through calling people, and I know they don't call you back.
Right.
I am the worst. I will contact everybody, but I've apologized to a lot of people. Oh yeah, I got it. Sorry, I didn't do that.
I got a really good response.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, really good response.
And so there was a
not
need.
Work right away, but I got
no. But you got something. Hey,
a lot of positive stuff.
Yes,
like
that's what you need.
I had a guy who was a DP who did like Target commercials and all this other stuff that I hit up. It was all people on LA 411, and I also like looked on LinkedIn. I was just like trying to find anybody that's either a DP or like a social media type producer, like someone sort of on the lower end.
Of those,
And then I mean I also hit some of the bigger people too, like some of the guys at Mob Scene and some of these big like BTS houses and Trailer Park and a couple other places that sometimes do that style of content.
Sure.
And actually I got an email from some of those guys and they're like, "You're on the right track.
Oh, that's great.
This work looks great.
You're
off to a great start."
What a great, that must have pushed you forward, man.
Yeah, and the guy who did the Target commercials was like, this is a great idea. He's like, I'm surprised nobody's like decided to make this their thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I really,
what?
I did 3 of these and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So.
And in the day, I mean, there was, the set photographer, right? I mean, that was the first band. But and I know we've talked about this too. And in fact, I want to get some going so we can look at it and talk about it picture in picture. But I know one of the things too is the focus is like my behind the scenes is, like I said, narrow. Yeah. Is with gear and everything like that. You open my eyes up to what the real behind the scenes could be. Oh, yeah. And most of them were just in the day, like photographing the stars or, on set. I mean, they wanted the studios put that out who had the biggest draw, obviously. Right. And it wasn't the DP. Nobody who probably knew his name back in those days. But anyway, let me ask Tony, what have we got up first, Tony, or what would you like to see, Ed?
Well, I don't know.
Tell me.
I think probably the thing to, just get everybody really excited and kind of kick this off is the one, the Adonis one. That fight scene, BTS, really gets people fired up. Okay,
let's take a look. Tell us about this. Let's watch it first, and then we'll set it up for us.
Okay. Well, basically, this was a guy who was trying to do a narrative-style music video, kind of in the vein of like James Bond. And I saw his Facebook post. He didn't ask for a BTS guy, but I just thought the project was insanely cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, do you need a BTS guy? Because what you're doing here is unique and cool.
Yeah.
And I'd like to be a part of it.
Sure.
And he was like, what's your usual rate? And I told him, and he was like, oh, I can't do that. He's like, this is all sort of like it's stretched thin as is. I stretched the budget to get anamorphic lenses, all this other stuff. Like, I just can't. And I was like, well, what can you do? And he was like, well, I can do $200 a day. It's 2 days. Like, if you're willing to come and play, like, cool.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And so.
And this is it? This is what you got from that? Okay, let's take a look at it.
My concept for this music video was to shoot a spy film that took place entirely in 3.5 minutes.
Coming into the video, I didn't know how crazy it would actually be shooting my first fight scene.
Everyone wants to do a fight scene, but they don't know what it really takes.
We planned every hit.
You're doing it 100 times. You do hit each other in the body, and you always get pretty banged up.
We wanted the final confrontation to feel big. We found this mansion, perfect place for them to meet each other.
The anti-gravity cam allows me to put the camera anywhere I want. We follow Cammy with a very arcing shot into a lock-off.
He thinks he's sneaking up on me. He turns around the corner to shoot me. I grab the gun.
These guns are blowback guns.
The slide on the gun actually moves. And then when the VFX department adds muzzle flashes, it makes each shot feel realistic.
I kicked the gun out of his hand.
That was, believe it or not, a stapler and a bike lock.
We went with the big uppercut, then the straight kick into the living room. I'm kicking him, I'm punching him. I have like this really cool elbow to the face. It looks like Adonis is maybe gonna lose.
Cammy pulls out a blade and stabs me in the leg.
One of the effects I had to do was making a plate rig for the stake that went into Adonis. I strapped the plate around his leg and then we cut a hole in his trousers.
You can see I'm in excruciating pain.
It looks nasty.
I grab a glass, immediately smash it over his head.
The glass is actually made out of sugar, but it still hurts. And I was telling Adonis, you have to hit me as hard as you can. This is where Adonis starts to take over the fight. I'm stumbling backwards, and then I'm trying one more Hail Mary, and it fails.
I pull the blade out of my leg and I just slice his throat.
I mean, movie magic-wise, I was just behind him with some tube pumping.
We wanted to make the blood pop to really sell it, so now we can look at everything all together.
Patrick took this music video to another level. I mean, this thing looks like a real movie. Make sure you guys go check out Dudes on Vivo right now.
That is awesome. That's a great job, dude.
Right.
That was really entertaining. That was very good. That was very good. Did you edit it all that together?
I did basically essentially the assistant editing on that. I pretty much the majority of the shot selection was mine, and then the director who did the music video, he did a final cut.
Okay.
And then he also got he got a New York colorist to do the
that's
color on it and everything.
Oh,
so that's,
awesome.
that's one of the most polished things I've gotten.
No,
out there.
that's
pretty
very nice.
amazing.
They must have been very happy of getting that. I'll tell you, that was well done.
Yeah, it came out
very well done. Now, you also have a reel, or you had a reel that you sent them. Well, maybe not the same reel at that time, but can we take a look at that reel?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's the one that says
Music BTS?
Yeah, Music BTS EPK. That's what I send out for the most part.
Okay, let's check it out.
Jerry, I love your ice cream.
You have a vision. You're a storyteller.
Punches me in my eye.
I tell you, dude, I love that. I thought that was an absolutely awesome reel.
Thanks.
Seriously, I thought that. I'm very impressed. I am very impressed with that. I mean, if I was doing a project and I saw that and you put that out to me and said, let me do your behind the scenes, there would be no doubt that you would be my choice. I'm serious. That is great work.
Thank you.
You bet. You bet. And you just told me a few things, too, of something else. What's going on with you immediately right now? What are you working on now?
Oh, well, the big thing that I'm working on now is actually something that came from a BTS gig that turned into essentially a DP editing gig.
Okay.
So that's that princess's project called the Royal Beverleys.
Yeah,
and,
okay.
It's this silly little kids show that's on YouTube, and it's actually a tie-in with an upstart network, a streaming network that's kind of like Netflix, but it's for religious people.
Okay.
It's called PureFlix.
Okay.
And so these two sisters, they managed to get a show picked up and put together with these three girls in it. And they wanted initially just to get some behind the scenes of the music video that they were doing with them, that was a tie-in with the show that's launching in August. And based on that BTS, they were like, "Hey, do you also do social media content?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure do. I've shot short films. I've lit stuff. I've done a lot of camera work, on my own personal projects,
right."
And a couple short films that I didn't do much at festivals, but anyways, I had the experience level. And I was like, yes. And so we went out and we shot the first one, and it's a lot of little green screen stuff and visual effects of little glitter explosions.
Right.
And, it's a lot of fun, and so I mean, you really never know what's going to lead to what in this business.
Yeah.
And
that is the truth, my friend.
So I went from doing the BTS stuff, and I'm still doing a lot of that, but I'm also picking up these social media content gigs that that are more in the narrative space than behind the scenes, but they also have kind of a documentary feel to them. So it's like the same.
Don't you feel like that is the sort of the new normal now? It's kind of a narrative,
sort of like
documentary,
pseudo-reality.
Pseudo-reality, yeah, exactly.
Well, even like hardcore narrative stuff has that style.
Oh my
now.
God, yes.
And some of the best EPs doing it are ones that came from a documentary background.
Yes, exactly. And you know what I have noticed too in the commercial world. Because there's one, and look, I don't watch commercials as a general rule. Of course, being like usually when I'm watching them for their content, not what they are getting the message, I guess, just how they did it. And I was just kind of, and usually my reality is the TV's on and I'm on the phone.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's usually it. But I noticed this one, a woman's thing, and I don't know exactly what the product was. It was all Instagram style pictures, doing like the boomerang and all that.
There's a lot of stuff being shot portrait mode now.
Oh, totally portrait mode. I mean, I would get ravaged on Facebook if I ever shot anything vertical.
Dude. The old hands are like, oh no,
oh, they're going,
I'll never shoot that.
I go, you shouldn't be shooting in vertical if you're in this business. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was very, very intense. But look, let's face it. Everything that is the dominant media gets imitated. Right now, social media is the dominant media. It's bigger than TV, movies, and
this generation spends more screen time in front of their phone than they do at the movie theater or watching traditional television.
No comparison between the two. Absolutely.
And the about the max length for people's attention spans about 10 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes now.
If that. It is, well, you know what, it's a funny thing, and this goes back to old guy, but, I used to remember easily 30 phone numbers in my head, right? I can't even remember my wife's now. To be honest with you,
I still think that iPhone
Tony likes that. I know Tony's guilty of that too.
The iPhone is a godsend for someone with ADD, though.
Oh,
because I used to forget everything.
Yeah.
But I got Google Calendar.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
like
a personal
tools.
Assistant that I have now, essentially for free.
Yes.
Yes. I don't forget dates. I don't forget phone numbers.
Yes.
And it's backed up everywhere. You used to have like an address book that you leave somewhere, and then you lose all your contacts.
Oh, that was it. You lost that address book. That was it. You were done. Yeah. But you see a lot of that coming back in, and the attention span. Everybody gives me every time that I tell people how long this show is, an hour. It's the same exact response. Nobody's going to watch for an hour. Nobody.
Although that's not true with this kind of stuff. When you get into nitty-gritty stuff with like a very targeted thing that people are interested in, they'll watch it for like hours.
I believe people could watch the show for an hour if you were interested in the subject matter. However, this show is constructed without even having a steady viewer for an hour in mind. That's the TV.
Yeah.
They needed that. I don't need that. I need you coming in when you have time, when it's convenient for you, visiting the show, picking up some information, and you come in and out as you please. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the new model. The old model is, oh my God,
you got to sit here.
You got to sit there. You got to watch the commercials. You got to go through everything. You know what I mean?
But now, I mean, the whole thing is, I mean, not a commercial, but
no,
everybody knows tuning in. It's your thing. So
It's
you
your
don't,
thing.
You don't have to.
You don't have to beat them over the head with
a message.
Yeah,
they get it.
Yeah, they get it.
You know?
Thank you. Thank you.
And it's the repeat of seeing you all the time. I mean, you were you were a celebrity to me pretty much. Like I was really excited to meet you.
You need to go find better celebrities. I can tell you that.
Well, there's not many G&E celebrities out there.
No, they're
right?
not. It's a field I've got quite alone.
It's you and like the grip tips guy.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. Right?
Did you hear that, Dave? Did you hear that? We're both celebrities.
Dave Donaldson, right?
Dave Donaldson, yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love
he's a great
stuff.
guy too. We've had him on the show a couple times.
And Meet the Gaffer.
Yeah, Meet the Gaffer is great.
God, what is that guy's name?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not coming to me.
I would love to have him
awesome
on the show too.
He goes into like, the nitty
He
gritty
gets
of how
down
to
in
do
the
it.
details.
Like, this is how you tie down, a silk.
No, he's great.
He goes into all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I want to make sure we show some more stuff, though. Do we have more to show, Tony?
Princess time.
All right, it's princess time.
Princess time. All right, let's go, princess.
All right.
We're on the set of Princess Degree. Just hear me now on the radio. This is my jam, princess style with a brand new sound.
A little bit more eye makeup, brighter eyeshadow.
My hands on the air like I just don't.
Almost ready to roll. We're almost ready for first shot today. All right, guys. This is all the girls' wardrobe for tonight and for the video shoot. And then we have a couple of other wardrobe pieces, just different school clothes that we'll be going through today. It should be a really fun day. You know what I feel right here? You look amazing. You're good. Go ahead and put the rest of your jewelry on. You're ready to go. You're doing great. Let's get going. Yeah. So just be conscious of the rotation.
And when you say your lines, don't say them off to space. Say it right into the camera, okay? Here we go!
Put that in there.
Action!
Over this town. Guess I'm a princess. My hands in the air like I just don't care.
You're into the song, okay, everybody? We're excited.
I'm getting a milkshake after this. We have to go shoot a scene in a Royal Beverly carriage. There's a horse. There's a horse. Radio loud, singing like we own the town. Hands up, radio loud, singing like we own the town. We are the voice of a new generation, singing it loud with some new.
Now we're about to get them driving in the go-kart. We have 9 minutes to get this shot, and as you guys know, we haven't even started getting the shot, so prayer would be nice. That's a wrap. Yes, we are so ready to go home, but we had a blast and the girls did amazing. Yeah, super fun day today. See you guys next time. Bye.
Awesome, dude. I tell you, I'm very impressed. Very, very good job. Really good job. You know, you were just telling me as we were going out there how you got that job. Go ahead and repeat that.
Oh, yeah.
Again.
Well, it's a music video director named Nip Ramos, and he does a bunch of Disney Channel music stars and promo work, that sort of thing. And when I got back into trying to get back on set and everything, I got a gig as a grip on one of his music videos, and I just kept hammering him with work, like every month, like clockwork.
Yeah,
just
you'd
like,
hit him up.
hey, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a new piece of work. Hey, how about that? And the funny thing is, by like the third month, he was like, hey, thanks for keeping me in the loop on all this stuff. And then, and I was bugging his DP too. And the DP, like when they finally a year later found a project for me. He was like, dude, I wish I had been like you when I started in this business.
Really?
He's like,
said that?
yeah, he's like, he's like, I wish I had your ability to do that, you know, that level of follow-up and everything now. He's like, I'd be working so much more. He's like, you should be really proud of yourself for like keeping up on that.
That is so awesome, dude.
So that was pretty cool.
So awesome. It's really cool. It's really cool. And I'll tell you why, because for the last 2.5 some years doing this show, you know, I've talked to so many people. Of course, I've heard that, and every guy that I'm in contact with, you know, goes, well, I don't want to call you all the time, bug you. I go, I don't want you to call me all the time and bug me, but I want you to stay in touch with me. I want you to hit me up. And you know what? After a year, that guy remembered your name. He found the project. He wanted you to come in.
Exactly.
Dude, I tell you, and then him telling you, to me, this is the goal. For him to telling you, I wished I would have been more like you.
Yeah,
when
it blew
I
me
started.
away. And it's so funny because I was,
unbelievable.
I was in awe of this DP guy that does all this stuff because his work is amazing.
Of course, yeah.
You know, and he does like HMI balloons in the air for his
he's
stuff,
doing,
like cool stuff.
He's
you know,
very, very,
giant techno cranes.
Of course,
and, and I'm just like, oh, I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
And like, and he's like, and he's sitting there. He actually said he would work on any of my projects. He said, give me a call if you have a project.
Yeah, that's
you
so
can just,
awesome.
I'll just come out even if it's a crummy rate. He's like, I feel like you're probably working more than I am right now. He's like, so I'll come out on your thing, you know.
Unbelievable.
You know, because I just dig your your drive and your enthusiasm, and I'd have fun with you like on a set, even if it's a small silly thing.
That's really a
great
great
that
thing.
blew me away. I was
that's a huge compliment.
You know, and it's funny because like when I first started doing this stuff and I was doing the outreach and stuff, I ended up stopping eventually because I was just like, it's not working very well. But I didn't realize you got to repeat that for a long time.
You know what?
You know?
That is great advice, and I think that is what I would tell any viewer, anybody. And you don't have to just be young. You don't even have to be starting out either to get on that phone and offer your services up. You know, I think that's a very important point, that it's when you've gotten that kind of response and you don't do it and you're hearing nothing back, that's when you bear down.
Yeah, well,
that's when you go and decide, I'm going to go for another.
Also, another thing is oftentimes you'll get a great response from somebody, and they're like, I'm so excited, and you won't hear a thing.
Yeah.
And so when that happened, I'd be like, oh, what did I do? I must have done something wrong. Like, did I piss him off? Like, you know, after the second or third month of emailing him, is he mad at me?
Yeah.
And I've had most of those end up. It takes like 6 months for them to.
Yes, it
because
does.
the reality of it is, you're not their regular dude.
Right.
Okay. I mean, if they're anybody and they're successful, even in the slightest, they have a regular crew. They got somebody they use all the time if it's something they even need. And so you have to wait for that guy to be sick, unavailable, you know, whatever. And the project has to be the right size for, the real and experience level you have as the person that's contacted them.
That's
so,
right.
So I was looking at it so the wrong way when I started, and really it's about repeating until they have an opportunity that fits your skill set and your experience level and everything. And if they have a need for that, they'll call you. And so a lot of times that's a lower budget gig that may be like, hey, I loved your work, but you haven't done anything on NBC or Fox or CBS or whatever. So for that caliber of job, I can't put you on that. But but I had a slow month this month, so I picked up this, this Royal Beverly's thing. So I'm giving you a shot, bro. You've been sending me all this excellent work. And so here you go, dude. Here's your chance. And so that's how it really works. And I didn't know that when I started this process. Because it's so easy to get discouraged when you're sitting there and you're sending out a million emails. And the other thing is I found that you shouldn't, like, if you don't like doing phone calls, you shouldn't do phone calls. I found that I'm really good at writing, and I go over really well on emails. So I found a way to craft really nicely done intro emails with the purpose of getting somebody interested in having coffee or lunch with me. Because I do well one-on-one.
That's what you did with me.
Yeah, when I can see somebody's body language and stuff, like I can get an instant connection with somebody. But over the phone, it just doesn't happen. So one of the things that I learned was to stop battling against my natural tendencies and be who I was naturally, and instead find a way that worked for my particular, weirdness,
God, I think that is such great advice, Edward, seriously, because, you've got to get it in the zone where you're comfortable with it. And if you're not going to be comfortable with doing a video or a picture,
well, you're not going to repeat it enough times for it to ever be successful.
Exactly.
And you got to do it every day. I send out probably 20 emails per day.
So now, are you still doing that?
Yeah, well, no, not this month.
I know, because you're busy.
I got work this month, so it's working.
But that is a very good point. I think that. I agree. If your premise is you should put 20, 10, 5 out every day.
Whatever.
You know what I mean? Every day.
You also can't hold yourself to such a high standard you can't do it.
Can't do it.
Because then you end up kicking your own ass. You feel bad. You demoralize yourself, and it's
you're going to make yourself fail.
Right.
Yeah. But by doing that and getting out there and staying it, that is what will get you success. That is what will get you work.
Yeah, it's funny. A guy told me when I first started that that this business really is a war of attrition. It's really who can survive the longest for the least amount of money in the beginning.
That's so true.
And it's true. You see guys going home because they couldn't.
Well, and there's the ones that come out and go big, and it's all like one shot. You know what I mean? It's like a movie with the opening scene that just grabs you, and then you can't stand the movie.
Yeah, that's also a mistake.
Yeah,
you got to start where you're at. And initially, I was all worried about the cameras I had, and do I have the best lenses, and then I was like, well, BTS and social media stuff, nobody's worried about that. Does it look good?
Yeah.
Does it, and if it looks better than the stuff,
does it tell the story? Does it tell the story?
Right, and does it get people excited to watch?
The story.
And visually, does it keep people watching?
Right.
And so I was like, well, I got to stop thinking that way.
Yeah.
And so I got the cheapest kit I could afford.
Wow.
I could afford a GH5, and I could afford a 12 to 35 lens to toss on it. So I had a zoom lens, I had a GH5, I had enough batteries to make it through a 12-hour shoot, and that was it.
Yeah.
And that's how I started.
And you went out and did it.
And and that's the other thing is you don't know what you don't know until you're out on set.
Yeah.
And so you could spend all this money on all this stuff you don't even need.
Yes.
And so that's what a lot of people do. They end up buying all these crazy monitors and gimbals and all this stuff. And
to me, that's why I've always said you cannot buy your way into this business. Right. You better find out what the price tag is first before you spend any money.
And don't be afraid to start small. That's one thing. You read on these stupid Facebook groups, and everybody's like, he jumps all over the new guy who's shooting on his iPhone or whatever. And I'm just like, no.
Yeah, no. Don't
you could
learn
every single fundamental with an iPhone.
I completely agree.
You put Movie Pro on there, you can learn exposure.
Look.
You can learn lighting. You know,
any kid.
They have a light meter for the iPhone now.
Yeah.
Like, that's all you need to learn lighting is to be able to like know contrast ratios and stuff.
Good.
Like,
you know. Work with contrast rate. Sure, it's not going to be the most perfect camera. We know that. You know what I mean? But the basic you learn. And two, here's another thing, and this is maybe a little bit true when you were growing up. Certainly, big time true for me. Information was a commodity you had to buy.
You had to pay for
You had to pay for it.
There was no free stuff like on YouTube. I remember like somebody come out with a video series and it'd be like $800 or like $1,200 for the video series. Like Video Maker would come out on a series like on how to do everything. Like we were relegated to like magazine subscriptions if you wanted to learn some stuff.
And
they'd keep a lot of stuff back. They wouldn't tell you all the cool stuff.
They wouldn't tell you all the stuff.
You know?
And two, you didn't have all the information coming from the manufacturers either.
Right.
Now
they're putting out free stuff. Like you go on Aperture's like YouTube channel and they got like
Go to
any of them. Like they got all this free stuff.
Yeah, Aperture's doing a great job on promoting their stuff via video and filmmakers and community.
I just like their stuff because for the stuff that I do, run and gun, low budget,
perfect.
It's like I got one of those 120Ds.
Listen,
it's my
workhorse. We got
you know?
1 minute left.
Oh, no.
How do people get a hold of Ed Uken?
Basically, if you Google On-Set BTS Films, I'm the only one. And,
and it's onsetbts.com.
Onsetbts.com is the website, and then it's onsetbts everywhere else, Instagram and Facebook and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so they can get you there. They got a phone number, website. You got your whole 9 yards. You get a hold of this man.
All the marketing stuff.
All the marketing stuff.
All my ducks in a row.
That's right. All the ducks in a row. And I will tell you, knowing Ed, and we've showed the stuff here. I mean, awesome A-class work. You know, so get him for your BTS. It's things. In fact, I've got a couple projects I'm going to talk to you about as well. So,
all right. See.
Yeah. So that's it. So. Wave goodbye, Ed.
All right.
We're going to see everybody 2 o'clock next Friday on Burnie's Applebox. We'll see you then.
Cut. That's a wrap.